Hello, guys and gals, me Mudahar, and boy oh boy, this Epstein stuff just does not stop, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it's been a while since I've kind of covered this whole story, and, is there a big development that's happened, or are there more files that are released? The reality of it is, now we're at the point where we're just clearing house and pointing fingers at individuals. Now, I don't usually jump into the world of, American, politics. It's only really important to me in the context of the Epstein files. Remember, it's a huge human trafficking network that is actually 100% proven. And unfortunately, the reality of it is that there's a lot of co-conspirators we have no idea of, because the most powerful country in the world is actually pretty much, in my opinion, just protecting them. We're not getting names, we're not getting faces. A lot of these people that have tons of money, tons of power in the world are allowed to do tons of evil shit, and I guess most of us are just supposed to sit here and, I guess, kind of just take it. You know what I mean? Now, what's interesting about it, ladies and gentlemen, and the reason why it's kind of a story today, is that apparently it seems like the chief, the Attorney General of the United States, basically the top cop. In this case, it was Pam Bondi. Now, we basically listened to her talk and yap about these Epstein files, and, she had brilliant quotes like,
the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000.
When you look into her history about this topic, she started off kind of saying that, look, there's a ton of information on my desk that contains some really, really sick stuff, and we need to prosecute bad people. And it basically went into not a single prosecution, nothing. Effectively, what's happening is every other country is kind of trying to make, consequences stick. But it just seems like in the U.S., it ain't happening. And, there's been a lot of distractions that have sort of come at us, whether they be aliens, fucking war with other countries, so on. So at this point, I'm pretty sure the U.S. government will probably announce that ghosts, the paranormal, fucking exists. They're going to call up the motherfuckers at TAP. The guys that make, that paranormal, what is that TV show online? What is that TV show? The one where they're like plumbers by day? Ghost hunters by night. They're gonna bring them and have them hunt for ghosts in the White House. That's how insane it's gotten. So yesterday, good old the president was like, Pam Bondi is a great patriot, loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general over the past year. She did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown in crime across the country. Murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. We love Pam. She'll be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector. Now, I'm sure she'll probably make a lot of money over there, but I don't know. She's kind of already cooked that career. Now, what's replacing her is a guy called Todd Blanche, who is also just as bad, if not worse, when it comes to prosecuting people that may have been connected to Epstein. And I say may have been because really it's up to the DOJ to do their job, but if the Department of Justice isn't doing anything, then fuck it. Nothing's basically gonna happen, boys. It is what it is. It's wild too. I actually doubt the fact that she got kicked out on good graces, because apparently this was a photograph that was, captured by the media. Apparently her portrait was thrown into the fucking trash. I think before she even stepped out of the actual office. Crazy shit, dude. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, too. What's really interesting is, for anybody that doesn't know, the Epstein stuff is not stopping. There's an entire committee in the White House that's like, no. Come over here. We got to have more talks. She was supposed to come for a subpoena, a deposition, on April 14, 2026. It was addressed to General Bondi. Now, from what I've heard, just because she's been fired doesn't mean this isn't going to happen. So basically, the committee is reviewing the possible mismanagement of the federal government's investigation on Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Miss Ghislaine Maxwell, the circumstances and subsequent investigations of Epstein's death, the operation of sex trafficking rings, and ways for the federal government to effectively combat them in ways in which Mr. Epstein and Maxwell sought to carry favor and exercise influence to protect their illegal activities. And I think it's a good, this is a sign of what a good country can do, where, if you do detect that there's corruption in your nation, you do your best to stamp it out. Seems like that ain't fucking happening these days. Now, the reality of it is they say possible mismanagement, but I'm going to just err on the side that there definitely has been serious mismanagement. The FBI has probably done, the DOJ has probably done the worst job trying to cover up this entire situation. Whether it be metadata getting leaked out, whether it be the fact that redactions weren't properly done in some cases, whether it be that victims were re-victimized in this whole situation, whether it be the fact that people who had no reason to be fucking redacted were actually redacted in the first place. There is such an insane level of mismanagement, it would make a fucking banana republic shit itself with how stupid this looks. Now, what's really interesting too is that even other guys like Kashyap Patel, and a lot of people are like, Muda, why are you so hard on the Indian guy? Well, I don't know, motherfucker. It's because I am the Indian guy, okay? I actually looked at this dude and I was like, man, it's good to see some representation. And then you see how much of a DEI hire this guy is, and I use that term appropriately over here. Like, I use that in the mocking way that some people will say, because this guy literally was hired for it's not like this guy had any fucking merit whatsoever. I'm sure he had a great career, but his mismanagement and constant dick sucking is so hilarious to watch that it makes me wonder how he gets up on here, how he has the balls to actually come out and basically still protect anybody. Like, dog, you are part of the FBI. Your job is to stop serious cases. That involves human trafficking. And I think that without a shadow of a doubt, this man has, in my opinion, personally, I believe, okay, and I say these things for legal reasons, but I do personally believe him. I think he's done far exceptional, I think he's done a great job at not pursuing any level of justice in this situation. I think he's done a great job being somebody that is a great sycophant, somebody that just sucks up the people at the top. In fact, everyone over here who's getting cleared out now, whether it be Pam Bondi, whether it potentially be this guy, or people that are kind of turned into like scapegoats for not just this Epstein stuff, but really all the other ills that has been going on in the federal government. And I think that is not just a great attempt at trying to divert the blame, but trying to like put a lightning rod on certain people so people stop looking at those in the top or even beyond. But it's just gross to see happening right here. And I'm actually the only saving grace. One of the reasons that I can make this video and feel happy about it too is that I don't think people are actually buying it, and that's just a good thing to see. Now, I started to look a little bit closer into people like Bondi, for instance, right? And when the threats start unraveling, it gets even wilder, right? Like, for instance, this is from the Citizens for Ethics, and when you start to look at the history of this guy and this woman, you can start to see that the seeds of miscarriage were sown pretty fucking early. So back in February 1st, 2008, what turned out was like there were complaints made to this Trump University, Trump Institute, and all these organizations. For anybody that doesn't know what it is, this is basically like Trump University back in the day. It was like a for-profit realtor college. And again, like many colleges, like many for-profit colleges, like they turn out to not be the pathway to success that some people think, right? Some people just put their money into this shit. They think they're gonna start having a great 6-figure salary. Doesn't fucking happen. And of course, even people like this Marco Rubio fellow, which now is, again, the second biggest glazer to the man, the president in power. Yeah, he used to call this shit a fucking scam, by the way. University is an absolute scam. Get the facts. All right, Marco, let's listen to the facts here. This is back in 2016 when he had testicles connected to him. Now they're all fucking cut down bitches is what they are, dude. Trump University was mired in fraud and deception. Trump's facing 3 lawsuits, 2 class actions filed in California, 1 in New York, which argued that the program took in an estimated $40 million but was mired in fraud and deception. We started looking at Trump University and discovered that it was a classic bait-and-switch scheme. It was a scam, starting with the fact that it wasn't even a university. More than 100 victims have decided to come forward saying that this shit was a ripoff. And again, a lot of these people thought that they could get into it, learn a few things, and get rich quick. This is the kind of scam that still works in today's society, and it works even harder because people really do need to get rich quick. Have you seen how fucking bad gas prices are today? I was driving home. We're looking at $1.79, $1.80 a liter in Canada, okay? It's jumping up like crazy. Not the highs that I've seen since COVID, where like shit was about $2 a liter, insanity to see. But yeah, shit's getting expensive all around. People need to get rich. And unfortunately, this isn't the only scam that you can find. One of the beautiful scams that I saw from the old Trump family was the fucking phone scam right over here. You know, the Trump Mobile. Has anybody actually even gotten one of these cell phones yet? Have you gotten your Freedom phone? I'm pretty sure the answer to that might be fucking no. And we're not even going to dive into the gaggle of crypto NFT nonsense. You know, it's one of the reasons why, like, covering a scam just doesn't have the same impact anymore when you start seeing them happening from, like, literally the most powerful people at the top. And the thing is, when you are running the country, you kind of have a fucking pass to, I guess, do whatever the fuck you want. So going back to the Citizens for Ethics timeline, one thing that really did interest me is obviously as people were looking into this Trump University, going down further, they were reviewing allegations, and eventually an individual known as Pam Bondi steps in. September 17, 2013, a $25,000 contribution happens to a group called Justice for All, which is a political group backing Pamela Bondi. And of course, this donation, which was illegal in a very narrow sense for a 501c3 private foundation, was personally solicited by Bondi from Trump, okay? So, insanity to see, okay? If I fuck up my taxes, you fuck up your taxes, me and you get a bitch complaint from the Internal Revenue Service, okay? Whatever the fuck tax agency you report to. These guys are shuffling 5 figs. And they don't get any problems with it. You know, they might have to like file some like corrections down the road and they can keep fucking up. Nothing happens. So according to documents turned over to, again, Crew's public records request, which you can do if you're in America, there was no consideration of whether to join this lawsuit in light of the fact the Attorney General's office received one consumer complaint 2.5 years ago. There is no investigation at this time. So again, right over here, the Tampa Bay reports that this organization received the contribution from the Trump Foundation. And despite previously acknowledging the 22 complaints, internal emails show that between October 17 to 18, 2013, the Office of Attorney General employees weeded out any complaints about the Institute and related entities to claim that there was only one complaint about Trump University. So again, just to give you an insane idea over here, right? Like you cut a check, $25,000, by the way, which, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money, but you have to imagine, right? For somebody who has a stoic career like Pam Bondi, allegedly, of course, in this case, is that enough to compromise you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I've had sponsorship offers that are like double that, okay? Like the worst, like insanity, you know, like the worst sponsorship offer. I imagine she could solicit way more money and still keep her ethics in some regards, right? Allegedly, if this is all 100% kosher and halal. So Trump representatives admit to the illegal donation, blaming a series of clerical errors. Like I said, if you and I had tax issues, we'd be bitched out. They can call it a clerical error. It's insanity to see, man. Like, you know, people always say, like, damn, do you have, like, derangement syndrome? I'm like, no, the facts are right here. You know, you just have to be able to read and parse it through. Bondi's like, I was never, nor was my office investigating him. Never. I would never lie. I would never take money. I was obviously devastated over this. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are, you fucking bitch. God damn. But you can read all this for yourself. Citizensforethics.org reports investigations, Crew investigations, Trump Foundation, Pam Bondi scandal. And again, you should read this, right? Even if you're not somebody that is a fan, even if you're somebody that is a fan of Donald Trump, right? Even if you're somebody that's like, this guy is my fucking boy, I love this man with all my heart, you should be able to read everything about this. And it's this kind of stuff that I read that just sort of like fucks my mind up a little bit. Like, it really does fuck my head up. The whole thing about this Epstein situation has sort of like been a real wake-up call for me. It's been a wake-up call because, you know, I've covered a lot of fucked up shit in my time on YouTube and in my online career. Like, I've looked at actual sick people on the internet. But the thing is, I've always looked at that from the lens of, hey, this is like a Club Penguin private server. This is a really fucked up situation. Hey, Disney got involved. Good things got done. You know, people started to get targeted by law enforcement. You know, you start looking at things like, you know, creepy fucking killers on the internet, and hey, law enforcement gets involved, and the FBI gets involved, and people actually face some level of justice. And then you start looking at things like QAnon, you start looking at, you know, grooming networks on the internet, and you're like, hey, this is a really dark side of the internet. Is it true? Is it not? There's only so far you can look into these things. You know, people tell you there's like so much evil shit on the dark web. But then, you know, one day happens when you look at a case like Epstein, and I've been following this stuff since it ever dropped years ago. And I was thinking maybe something's going to come out of it. I was really looking forward to this administration trying to pursue justice. And all of that was shot dead in the water when I saw just how poorly this whole situation was handled. To be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, the thing that really just also chaps my ass too, like you can just look at the budget that came out as I was talking about this whole situation, and you can see that, to raise money for wars on the other side of the world, they're taking away money from people that run farms. They're taking away money from shit like NASA, where, you're taking away $3.4 billion here, 1.1 billion there, hundreds of millions of dollars away from this. Something that actually does lead to some level of science and technological advancements for not just the United States, but the entire world. That's being zipped away so we can bomb people on the other side of the world that we had no reason to bomb in the fucking first place. Shit's getting expensive, shit's getting fucked up, shit's getting annoying simply because of, again, people that are from a generation that shouldn't even be running in office are running the fucking world, It's crazy. After 65 years of age, you're supposed to retire gracefully and fuck off and do something. Except now you get to run the fucking country, okay? Whatever side of the aisle you're on. And not only run it, but run that shit into the fucking ground. Ladies and gentlemen, this Epstein stuff, there's really not much more that you can really say on top of it. Unless some actual, and I mean, I'm honestly like sitting here, unless an actual arrest is made, here's the reality of it. This has effectively been covered up. This has been covered up to the point where all people can do and sit down and say the most powerful, the most justice-hungry nation in the world stopped giving a shit about what is right and wrong and decided to, just let a few people at the top enrich themselves. And, the people that were the most ardent supporters, the people that gave up their careers, people like Pam Bondi, people like Kash Patel, people like these scumbags, not only did they give up all of their fucking legitimacy, not only did they give up their entire careers, because let's be honest with it here, right? Their names are completely butchered and marred by this whole Epstein fuck-up and a litany of other fuck-ups. And what did they get in the end of it? They got kicked the fuck out. They got kicked out to the curb. At least one of them, I don't know what's up with the resident Indian for now. Maybe it's not as easy to kick him out of the office. Maybe it'll look a little bit bad. But who fucking knows? Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, this is an insane update, but I feel like one of the reasons why I do make these videos is because a lot of people do enjoy that, it does stay in the limelight. People do talk about it. But also, I think it's important to make factual pieces about this, so at least somebody that is trying to get caught up with the whole vortex of information surrounding this at least comes here and gets as much factual information as they can. Again, everything that I show you has a citation. Everything that I show you, I put on the screen so you can pause, read it for yourself, okay? I don't have any particular side in this case, right? Like, I'm like a fucking lip-tard, I guess some could say, but I do care about the truth, and I do care about, like, actual justice being done, especially to people that take advantage of our most vulnerable, right? Especially children. And I guess if we live in a society that's not something we focus on, I don't know, man. Maybe the whole system just needs to burn. Maybe it ain't worth living anymore in some cases, if that's how fucked up shit is. But a lot of it is also, you have to be able to confront the most fucked up parts of your world before things change, right? It was easy when all you could do is sit down, scratch your balls, play a video game. But when you start to see everything get more expensive, when you start to see everything get more fucked up, when you start to see that all your boys aren't able to get jobs because there aren't jobs to go around, then you gotta fucking say something. It's time to finally start, like, kind of speaking. But look, I might be a jaded person. I can still sit here and say things can get better. They just have to get worse before they get better, I guess. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Pam Bondi, you stupid, stupid bitch. Look what you got on your knees. You took every evil load you can, and what did you get in the end? A fucking not even a goddamn gift basket. I am out.